Coach, it's been kind of a whirlwind here the last month or two since you've been hired. I think you told Dan yesterday, spring ball starts in 2 weeks. You start practicing 2 weeks from today. It's got to feel good to just kind of get the ball rolling.
Oh, I don't think there's any question about that. I think that, we've worked them out. They've lifted, they ran. For us, I need to, I've been doing a lot of things. I need to get out there with the kids. Got to evaluate where we're at, what we have to work with, and that's the fun part of it. You sign up for or what you do to coach the kids. So I'm really looking forward to doing that.
It seems like the kids are buying into a lot of the stuff that you've already started, the early workouts. You don't strike me as a huge Twitter guy, but I follow a lot of your players, and they're excited to get up early. They say, we've never worked out this hard, I've never watched this much film, and practice hasn't even started, and it seems like they're all buying in so far.
Well, we'll see. I can't tell you that. I mean, I don't know what the definition of buying in is yet. I haven't seen that entirely yet. I think that's a process, and it's easy to buy in for 6 weeks or 8 weeks, but we'll see as we go through practice, and they haven't bought in completely, because if they've been Twittering you, then they're not doing what they're supposed to. So we'll get that taken care of.
You've obviously met with a lot of former players, a lot of people connected with the program. I know you've met with the high school coaches since you've been here. What's one of the main themes that have come out of all those meetings, or a number one thing that stuck out to you in all those conversations?
Well, I think that the passion, I think the guys that have bled and sweat in this program, they want to see the program do well, and I certainly understand that. And they've been very supportive, and each person has a little bit of different take of what we need to do, but I think I think they're right on in what they see and what they want. And I think the most important part of that is that to me is we've got to develop some continuity. I mean, these kids, in fairness to them, they've seen a lot of changeover. We've got guys that played for Coach Mace. We've got guys that played for Coach Brewster. We've got guys that played for 4 different coordinators. I mean, it's been tough on them. And anytime you have that much change, it's hard to build continuity or a team, so to speak. And it's nobody's fault in general. It just is. It's happened that way. So hopefully, the group of people that I've assembled, plus and it goes longer beyond football. It goes to the academic center, to the training room. They've got to see the same people all the time. And I think the majority of the kids said the biggest thing is this, boy, Coach, we just hope we got the same people, that are going to work with us. And I think that's legit.
Spring game is April 23rd. I've had a lot of people kind of wonder, what kind of spring game do you like to run? There's some coaches that like to do kind of a controlled scrimmage. Some people like to play all 4 quarters. Where do you fall in that typically?
Well, a lot of it has to do with your football team and where you're at in your program. There's, if we have our program's established and we're in our 3rd or 4th year and having a spring game and doing that, that's a great thing. But when you're starting off a program and as thin as we are on numbers, I don't know if we can have a spring game. I don't know. Time will tell in how spring ball goes.
Now, you mentioned stability. You mentioned just kind of getting kids up to speed. You might not see it at the spring game if people go, but starting in September, once we get to the practices and the real games, when you say Gophers Football, what are people gonna notice right away and say that's what Coach Gill's teams are all about?
Well, I can't answer that. I think if you look at my past and what we've done, and as far as what I want our team to look like is I want a team that goes on the field and represents the state of Minnesota. A team that's going to play their guts out to the bitter end, a team that's physical, a team that's going to play hard, a team that's going to fight back through adversity, a team that's never going to quit. Those kind of things. That's what represents my whole life, and it represents the state of Minnesota. Can that product be put out there today or tomorrow? Don't know. I would tell you, our team last year in Northern Illinois, they represented every phase of that. And they represented it when their head coach comes up here and takes a job. They went and won a bowl game. They had all kinds of adversity, all kinds of reason to quit, and they didn't. And that, at the end of the day, I think defines you as a coach and your football team. But that didn't happen overnight there, and it didn't happen overnight at Southern. Hopefully we can get it happening here as quick as possible.
You mentioned in your introductory press conference, I think the first player you ran into was Marquise Gray, and your eyes kind of lit up. You're very excited. You hoped you had 50 or 60 Marquise Grays. A lot of people think he's going to just step in and be the quarterback. I think he's excited to maybe play a little bit more quarterback than he has the last couple of years. How have the conversations gone with him since you've been here? I know he's watched a lot of film, or since you've been here, excuse me. How's it gone with him as far as taking that next step to being the starting quarterback this fall?
Well, I don't know. We'll have to see. I mean, we got to get spring ball. We got to see how you perform when you got 11 people out there, and you have to make checks and calls and things like that. I imagine there'll be a lot of competition, a lot of places. I know he's excited to play quarterback because that's what he was recruited to do. We're certainly excited about his athleticism and what he's shown in his workouts and morning workouts. Excited about a lot of them. But again, it's different when you go play the game of football, and you got to make quick decisions at quick times, and we'll see how that goes. But we're certainly excited about watching him develop and see how it goes in the spring.
Also, in your opening press conference, you mentioned that you weren't your wife's first choice either. You got a lot of laughs out of that one, but I think even you recognize that a lot of people, people were a little tense about your hire. It wasn't the hire that people were promised when Joel said the Tubby Smith type deal. There was a lot of questioning of the hire, but in a short time, you talked to Dan about this yesterday, you've turned a lot of people around on it, Bob Stein included. Why do you think that is? It didn't seem to bother you that day. I'm not saying that, but there's a lot of optimism now about your hire just a couple months after there was a little tension.
Well, again, I don't know what tension there was. I mean, nobody showed me much tension. I don't read all that stuff, so I don't pay attention to it. I don't know what I don't know what was promised by Joel or anybody else. That's not my business. I don't know what a big name is, frankly. I mean, I don't, Bo Schembechler, I don't know what his name was before he went to Michigan, but it turned out to be a pretty big name. So my name's not very lengthy. Kill's pretty short. I think it's a pretty good football coach's name.
I like it.
So, I don't know what that is. All I can control is what I've done the past 28 years of my life in coaching profession, what I've done for all my life, and I think that I work hard. I've given everybody everything I've got, when I took a job, and we've been able to win most of the time. And so I'm not going to try to do anything different here. I'm not going to give promises that I can't keep. But I can tell you one thing, that my wife and I will give everything in the state of Minnesota we possibly can, and if that's not good enough, they won't have to worry about firing me. I won't be here, because I'm not going to cheat anybody. I always tell players when they get a scholarship, the worst thing you can do is steal. And stealing's when you don't give 100%. And I'm certainly not going to steal from the state of Minnesota. And so I'm going to give everything I got, and we'll see what happens.
Last question for you. How have you settled into the Twin Cities? It happened very quickly, your hire. You came up, I think it started on a Saturday, and you were up here on a Monday. And I imagine it's been kind of a whirlwind. I know you've been all over the place talking at clinics and recruiting and all that. Have you kind of started to settle into the community and get a rhythm of how it's going to be here?
I don't think I've been settled for 40-some odd years. I think that I try to take a day, get up in the morning. I'm kind of like old Willie Nelson's song, one day at a time. I take one day at a time. I get up and I give everything I can give on that day to make the University of Minnesota's football program better. And at the same time, make sure that I get a chance to see my wife. It may be late, give a call to my girls, and that's what I do. And so we've moved here and got a little place, and we've enjoyed the process. It's been great. We've enjoyed it. I get phone calls. Hey, Coach, how do you enjoy it? Do you like it? I've enjoyed it. I think it's, people. Somebody says, "Is it cold?" I've been so busy, I've never noticed the cold. To be honest with you, so. People have been great. We've done a lot of things, and it's been a great experience for us, like every place we've been.